Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Eric2101 here coming at you guys today with another video. And in today's video, I just hit 400 games installed on my Xbox. And so this is part one of me going through all of them with you guys and ranking them each. I'm doing the best game of each row in alphabetical order. So there's going to be 80 rows in total. I'm going to be doing four different parts of 20 rows to make it shorter for you guys. Because for the best game of each row, I'm going to be doing a 1 minute showcase and review. I'm just going to be showing you guys 1 minute worth of gameplay and a little bit of a quick review of it for you guys. So hopefully I introduce you guys to some really cool new games that you actually are interested in and want to check out. Now, I do have to warn you guys, a lot of these games I have very little exposure to. I haven't beaten them. Maybe I haven't gotten very far into a lot of these games. So if you see one that should win and I pick a different one over it, let me know to play it more and to give it a second shot. Let me also know in the comments down below what games I don't have installed that I should install and try out. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Alrighty, so as you guys can see, there are 5 games per row, and it just goes down by alphabetical order. So we're actually starting with the things that don't have a letter in the title. So for example, it has then a prophecy and then 10 and 11. But the games in the first row are N for Lore Versed In, 10 Second Ninja, 1111 Memories Retold, Alkahine's Gun, and Alice Madness Returns. So our winner for the first row is going to be 1111 Memories Retold. Now, this game has a 92% rating according to Google users, which is going to be one of the highest ones you see in this entire series. It is a narrative adventure of video game set during World War I, and you get to play as a few different stories. You get to play as a photographer trying to photograph the war. You get drafted basically out of this little workshop you're working at as a photographer, and you get to go photograph the war. And another narrative is you're a father who's looking for his lost at sea son. Your son gets lost during the war, but you don't want to give up hope. You don't want to admit that he's dead, so you sign up for the army so you can go look for your son. And it just gets very, very intense during this game. And there's not very many World War I games out there. There's a lot of World War II games out there. There's not very many World War I games out there, and definitely not a whole lot of good ones. So our first winner is 1111 Memories Retold. Alright guys, so going into the second row, we have Alien Isolation, American Ninja Warrior, Among Us, Animal Super Squad, and APB Reloaded. So guys, this is a very good lineup, but the winner has to be Among Us. Among Us was the first large party game that I really actually enjoyed. And of course, Fortnite was a very popular, somewhat large party game at 4 people, and they upped it after a couple of years. But Among Us is free to play on Game Pass, and it's only $5, and I believe it's free on the cell phone as well. But it just completely did a whole lot for the gaming community. It was one of the best large party games ever released in American history. It is described as a multiplayer social deduction game developed and published by American game studio Inner Sloth. And it was actually inspired by the party game Mafia and science fiction horror film The Thing. So you guys, Among Us is our second winner of the game, just because it's such a large party game and there's so many different things to do in the game. I love all of the different missions and objectives you have to complete. I love the detective work of it, and it's just a really great addition to the gaming world because of how large of the parties it is. Alrighty, so for our third row, we have Apex Legends, Dig Dug, Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Army of Two. 5 very classic games in their own perspective of classic. But I have to give the winner to Apex Legends. Now, even though the other, there's obviously the 3 main classic games of American arcade history. However, if you're going off the best game, it has to be Apex Legends. It really did a whole lot for the Battle Royale genre. I really enjoy the graphics, I really enjoy the rush of it. It's sort of Halo-esque, but with a Battle Royale theme to it. And I really enjoyed Apex Legends, and I think a lot of people enjoyed Apex Legends. Of course, all other 4 of those games are classics as well, but just because we have to go over the most advanced game and the best game in that row, so I have to give it to Apex Legends. Alrighty, so going into the 4th row, we have Art of Rally, The Artful Escape, The Assembly, Astronomer, and Back to the Future, the game. I have to go with Back to the Future, the game, as our winner.
Okay,
I really enjoy the Tall Tale series. This may not be the last time you see Tall Tale on my list of favorites. I believe it was a wonderful game studio when they were still a studio. Of course, now they've closed their doors, unfortunately, due to several problems. But I do believe they made some amazing games, and Back to the Future, the game, was one of them. Of course, this is basically just a movie-esque game where you're basically just playing through the storyline of Back to the Future with Tall Tale's spin on it. So you're actually playing as the character himself. And hey guys, so going into the next row, we have Backbone, Bad North, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, which is the second game to Banjo-Kazooie, and Bard's Tale. Alrighty guys, so this time we are going with the classic of Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is our winner, and of course it's a classic from the Nintendo 64, possibly before the Nintendo 64. So basically, you're tasked with thwarting the various evil schemes of a witch named Gruntilla or something like that. It's like Gruntilla. And so basically there's this witch and she's giving you like these evil things to do, and you're playing as both a big bird and a big bear throughout the game. So it's a very interesting, basically, adventure game during a very classic role-playing adventure game. Going on to row number 6, we have Batman, the Tall Tale series, Batman, Arkham Knight, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield V or Battlefield 5, and Battletoads. I have to go with Batman Arkham Knight. I really enjoyed Batman Arkham Knight when it was sort of first released, and of course you guys know who the Batman is, and most of you guys have probably played Batman Arkham Knight. It's the most famous Batman game out to date. It has a 95% rating of people who liked this video game on Google users, which is another very good rating. It's an action-adventure game developed by Rocksteady Studios and published by the Warner Bros. It was released in 2015, so actually only going on about 6.5 years ago. But guys, it has a 9.2 on IGN, 95% of Google users liked it. It's just a very classic Batman game. It took over very quickly as the best Batman game out and the biggest Batman game out. I believe almost everybody would say that Arkham Knight is their favorite Batman game. Alrighty guys, going on to row number 7. We have Bejeweled 2, Bejeweled 3, Ben-Hur, Beyond Eyes, and Beyond Good and Evil. So a very interesting lineup. Ben-Hur was, when the Xbox One first released, Ben-Hur released, but the winner of this row has to be Bejeweled 3. One of the classics of mobile and Facebook gaming. Along with Candy Crush, This is one of the games that became huge on Facebook. Huge mobile game, Bejeweled 3. The Xbox adaptation of it is really fun, and I really just like the puzzling aspect of Bejeweled 3. Of course, it really looks nice for a puzzle game with all of the different colors. Of course, it was made by PopCap Games. And yeah, guys, so that's all I have to say about Bejeweled 3. Of course, you guys know what Bejeweled 3 is. You're trying to get a very high score, these huge lines of shapes together, and then it just creates a massive reaction across the map. It's just so much fun. Alright, guys, going on to row number 8, we have Blair Witch, Bleeding Edge, Bless Unleashed, Blinks, and Brawlhalla. Alrighty, so the winner is going to be Blair Witch. Unfortunately, I never got to fully play through Blair Witch. However, I did watch Markiplier play through it. And basically, you're just walking through the woods, but it has a very nice story narrative to it. It has great characters. Even your dog, it has one of the best dog companions I've ever seen in a video game. Of course, with your German Shepherd, it always seems to be that the dog companions in video games are German Shepherds or Labs. But yeah, guys, so it definitely has like a very nice dog companion story to it. Your dog is always with you. You're the main character, of course, going through the woods. It's based on the Blair Witch Trials found footage video game, and it's just a really nice walking simulator and story narrative. It is listed as a survival game with a 89% rating from Google users. So you guys, it's basically a story narrative game and a walking simulator. It has a slight horror narrative to it. It's not super scary, but it does have some jump scares at some points throughout the game. And it's listed as a survival game off of Google, but I definitely wouldn't really list it as a survival game. It's definitely more of a walking simulator and story narrative. Going on to row 9, we have Breath Edge, Bug Fables, The Everlasting Sampling, Burnout Paradise, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and Call of Duty Black Ops. Controversial opinion here, but I'm picking Call of Duty Black Ops 3 as the winner. This might just be because of my age. I'm currently 19 years old, so when Black Ops 3 dropped, I was in prime Call of Duty days with the boys, listening to Wiz Khalifa and Classic Command by Jadina. Just playing the Search and Destroy, the S&D, the Team Deathmatch, all of that good stuff, calling in the raps. I really enjoyed Black Ops 3, even though a lot of people hated on it because it was a futuristic Call of Duty. I definitely think it was the best futuristic Call of Duty, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was just an amazing multiplayer experience. I really thought the gameplay was great for multiplayer, and a lot of people hated on the story mode. I did actually complete the story mode of Black Ops 3, and I gotta be honest with you, I think it was one of the better story modes I've played through. Not necessarily that the story was super amazing, but the gameplay of the story mode was really great, I thought. So Black Ops 3 was definitely the winner for this row. Alrighty guys, going on to row number 10, we're halfway done with this video. We have Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Ghost, Call of Duty World at War, and Carrion. So we know it's not going to be Carrion, that's for sure. But I'm going to have to pick Call of Duty Ghost as the winner of this row, and I know it's another controversial Call of Duty pick. My taste in Call of Duty games is so controversial. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. But again, I really thought that Ghost had an amazing multiplayer experience. I really enjoyed Ghost. I know a lot of people who did not enjoy Ghost. but it was a really nice, older, realistic Call of Duty. It was sort of the transformation into the Call of Duty we know today, in my opinion, along with Black Ops 2. It was a really good transformation Call of Duty into the modern Call of Duties, and I just really enjoyed Call of Duty Ghosts. In my opinion, it was a really good multiplayer experience. A little bit more tactical than the other Call of Duties as well. I think the maps were a little bit bigger, and it was just a really good experience overall. Alrighty guys, going into row number 11, we have Castle Crashers, Children of Mordor, The Child's Sight, Cities, Skylines, and Cluster Truck. Alright guys, the winner is Cluster Truck. I really haven't been enjoying Cluster Truck. Basically, it's a very simple game. All you do is you jump. You're basically like a little dot, and you're trying to jump from the backs of semi trucks. So you're on one back of a semi truck to start off with, and you have to keep on jumping to different semi trucks, landing on them, while these semi trucks are like crashing into each other and racing around, and you have to make it to the finish line. So it's a very fast-paced game, especially as you move along, it becomes faster and faster. And it's one of those challenging games, sort of like Flappy Bird and Jetpack Joyride. So it's an addicting game, trying to see how far you can go, trying to break your record, etc., etc. Moving on to row number 12, we have Comic Jumper, The Complex, The Console, The Crew, and The Crew 2. Now, this one has a pretty obvious winner in my opinion. It has to be The Crew 2. The Crew 2 allows you to race, fly, and also drive any boat you want around any city you want in the United States. So I believe it has Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Miami, and I might be missing a couple other cities across the United States that are included in this game. Now guys, this is not the most graphically amazing game. A lot of the cities that are in this game just look flat out horrible. Pretty horribly designed cities. A lot of the stuff is missing, and a lot of these cities, it's not like, you know, Grand Theft Auto to where it's a very detailed city, but at the same time, it is the city, and you get to experience different cities across the United States. So Chicago, New York, San Francisco, and Miami, I believe, are the main 4 cities that actually do look quite nice, but there's a lot of smaller cities in between there. And guys, I've had a lot of fun playing The Crew and The Crew 2. On to row 13, we have Crossfire X, Crossout, Cursed Fold, The Culling, and Cuphead. A very competitive row, but I have to go with... And so our winner for this row is going to be Cuphead. So 97% of Google users liked Cuphead. It's also a really popular game. But it was a 2017 run-and-gun video game developed by Studio MDHR, and it was inspired by the Rubber House style from the golden age of American animation, and the subversive and surrealist qualities of the works of Walt Disney Animation Studios and Fletcher Studios. So its release, it was September 29th, and right on release, it was a very popular game. It's infamous for being very difficult to complete any of the levels, and so if you like a good challenge, and you like a good puzzle, and you like a good run and gun, old style American animation sort of video game, it is very old school animation, as you can see. Go ahead and get Cuphead. To row number 14, we have Cyber Shadow, Cyberpunk, Dark Dreams Don't Die, Dandra, and Dante's Inferno. And the winner of row 14 is Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk had an infamous debut for being extremely hyped up, and it had a very poor release with a lot of bugs, glitches, etc. And people were saying that it simply was not a good game, but it has had many updates since then, and now it is pretty good game with 70% of people liking it, and it is a action role-playing video game developed and published by CD Projekt. And the story takes place in Night City, which is basically a fictional, like Detroit. It's Detroit Become Human sort of game. It's definitely like Detroit Become Human, and a little bit of GTA combined in that. So you guys can get the picture of Grand Theft Auto mixed with Detroit Become Human. It's a robotic, open world game set in a fictional Detroit. And yeah guys, so Cyberpunk 2077 is the winner for row 14. Moving on to row 15, we have the Dark Pictures analogy, House of Ashes, along with the Dark Pictures analogy, Man of Medan. Darwin Project, Day of the Tentacle, and Day Z. And before you guys ask, yes, I did play through Little Hope, and yes, it was my favorite Dark Pictures trilogy game. It's actually an analogy. It has 4 games. The 4th game is coming out, I believe, next year. But for this row, I'm going to have to pick Man of Medan as my favorite game in row 15. Basically, it's a horror survival game. Every single choice you make matters, so there's different outcomes at the end. Different people are going to survive based off of the actions and decisions you make during the game, which makes it extremely interesting because anything can change at any given second based off the smallest decisions you make throughout the game, and every single choice you make is going to matter. So it makes it a very fun survival horror game. You're basically going through a haunted warship. A bunch of people died on this boat, and now you're going through it, and your friends are dying too. And how are you going to survive? That's up to you. How many of your friends are going to survive? That's up to you. But Dark Pictures analogy, Man of Medan, is the first game in the Dark Pictures anthology, and it is the winner of row 15. Moving on to row 16, we have D-Blob, Dead or Alive 5, Dead Rising 4, Dead Space, and Deadpool. So we have 4 games with the word dead in it. And I would have to say my favorite is Dead Rising 4, the zombie slashing first-person shooter. I know it's a shooter game. I'm not. I forget right off the top of my head if it's a first or third-person shooter game, and I know I beat the game not too long ago. But it was a very good zombie slasher. There's so many different fun weapons and a fun open world map design. There's so much stuff to find in the game. So many different collectibles, weapons, comic relief throughout the campaign really helps it a lot. The graphics are alright for a zombie slasher, and it's just a very good game all around. So Dead Rising 4 is the winner for row 15, even over Deadpool. Alrighty guys, so moving on to row 16, we have Dear Esther, Death Squared, Deer Simulator, Deep Rock Galactic, and Deliver Us to the Moon. Now guys, taking the first glance at this row, you guys already knew the clear winner of row 16 was going to be Deer Simulator. It's basically you play as a deer and you have to cause as much chaos as possible, collecting guns throughout the maps, turning people into deer, killing cops, killing sheep cops, killing polar bear cops, killing all the cops. Deer Simulator is a great game. Yes, cause so much chaos as a deer. After basically you start out as a human, and very early on into the game you get hit by a car, and then you are basically what's it called? When you come back to life as something else, you come back to life as a deer, and then you cause chaos as a deer, killing people, turning people into deer, all sorts of fun things. There's a lot of good boss fights in Deer Simulator as well, so I really enjoyed Deer Simulator, and it is the winner of row 16. Moving on into row 17, we have Descenders, Destroy All Humans, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, Dodgeball Academa, and Don't Knock Twice. A much harder row than the last row. I'm going to have to go Destroy All Humans as the winner, though. It was a game that I really enjoyed as a very young child when it first came out. For, I believe, the PlayStation 2 it came out for, which is what I played it on originally, and now I own it for the Xbox Series S. So look at that, well, it's remastered. But Destroy All Humans is just a very fun game. It has lots of comic relief. You're an alien, you're a UFO, and you're trying to cause as much havoc and chaos as possible. It's a lot like Deer Simulator in a way. It's basically Alien Simulator. It's another word for Destroy All Humans. And it's exactly what the title says. You're trying to destroy all humans. Into row 19, we have Don't Starve, Donut County, Doritos Crash Course, Euro Fishing, and Dragon Age Origins. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to have to give it to the game I played most recently in this row, which is Donut County. Basically, you're a hole in the ground that was caused by a raccoon, and you're trying to suck everything on Earth into this hole. You're trying to suck all your friends down with you. You're trying to suck all the businesses in the city down with you. And again, there's lots of comic relief with it. You're also another main character is a woman that works at the donut shop. So it's just a nice little fun little silly game, funny game. I actually played it along with Macca's guides for the achievements, but I did play it but I played most of it by myself. So yeah guys, that is the winner for row 18 is Donut County. Moving on to row 19, we have Dragon, Dreamfall Chapters, Dasadi, Dungeon of the Endless, and Dying Reborn. Now guys, again, this is a very easy pick for me. It has to be a Dragon, just for the pure graphics of it. The storyline is okay, but it's basically just a walking simulator, but the graphics of it are really amazing. I believe it takes place in Iceland or Greenland or something like that. One of those little, very beautiful, natural European places. I really do believe it's Iceland. It's set in like the 1940s. It has to do a little bit with religion as well. It has a religious tie into it. There is a church in it. There's angels, but it's not the whole thing. There's also a little bit have to do with mental illness, schizophrenia of the main character, and yeah, so basically you're a schizophrenic character, and it has to do a little bit with religion, ghosts, angels, all that cool stuff. But it's a very beautiful game, and that's why I picked it for the graphics. And that is the winner of row 19. And alright guys, so we are approaching the end of this video with row 20. We have Dying Light, UFC 3, Emily Wants to Play, Emily Wants to Play 2, and Empire of Sin. So a very interesting lineup, but I'm going to have to go with EA Sports UFC 3. I've really enjoyed all the UFC games. They're really good fighting games. WWE has been very bad for the past, decade now. 2011 and 2013 were good WWE games, but now it's all about UFC. UFC 3 is a very good fighting game, very good cage fighting game. You just have to love it. And yeah, guys, that is the winner of row 20. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys part 2, 3, and 4 are already uploaded by the time you guys are seeing this, because I'm uploading them all at the same time. So links to part 2, 3, and 4 are going to be in the description down below, as well as the full thing if you just wanted to go to the full thing and skip to about 20 minutes and 23 minutes and it should be, and then start from there, and then you can just watch 2, 3, and 4 consecutively if you would like to do that. But all the links are going to be in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alrighty guys, so as you can see there are rows of 5 games here, and we are starting out with row number 21, and it is going to be Enter the Gungeon, The Escapist, Everspace, Evil Inside, or The Evil Within. So the obvious winner here is going to be The Evil Within. None of the other 4 games really comes close to The Evil Within in my opinion. I know a lot of people really enjoy The Escapist, but The Evil Within is a survival horror game developed by Tango Gamers and published by Bethesda Softworks. It was released worldwide in October 2014 on PS3, PS4, Windows, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. The gamer describes it as a downright scary horror game, mostly due to its excellent creature design. The Evil Within, specifically the first game, is one of the best survival horror games in recent years. This game was brought to light by the legendary Resident Evil creator, Shinji Mikami. So that's what the gamer said about it. Yes, it's definitely the best game on this row. I didn't play the full thing yet, but it's definitely a lot better than the other 4 on the row. Alright, for the next row we have Evolve, Fable 1, Fable 2, and Fable 3, and Fallout 3. So alrighty guys, the clear winner, once again for this one, we have a clear winner, is Fable 3. Fable 3 is basically, you play as a younger brother to an evil king, and you have to take the kingdom back, and you have to gain followers and loyal people that are going to fight by your side to take back the kingdom from your evil older brother who's trying to kill people and doing all sorts of corrupt things. So you're basically on this quest to become king, and you meet all such cool people along the way. Such great character design in this game. This was my first game that I ever considered my favorite game of all time. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but this is the first game I ever played where I was like, wow, this is my favorite game I've ever played. When I played it first on Xbox 360, I was really young. It's just so cool. There's so many different AI interactions. You can interact with so many different AI. It's ridiculous. And just the whole storyline is really cool. The setting is really cool. It's just all around an amazing game. The next row is going to be Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Far Cry Primal, Far Cry 2, and Far Cry 4. Alright guys, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have not played that much of the 3 Far Crys on this row. I have played the Far Crys on the next row, but we'll get into that. So my favorite game is going to be Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is basically you're exploring in a post-nuclear disaster wasteland. There's not that many survivors, and you're basically just exploring, trying to find different stuff, do different missions in this wasteland sort of thing. It was released in 2015, and 93% of Google users like the game. It is an action role-playing game developed by Bethesda. Once again, we see a Bethesda game on here. And it is the 4th main game, of course, which is Fallout 4. It is the 4th main game of the Fallout series. Alrighty guys, moving on to the next row, we have Far Cry 5, Far Cry 6, Far Cry New Dawn, Farming Simulator 15, and FIFA 22. This one's a very clear winner in my opinion. It is Far Cry 5. Of course, I am very into American core stuff. If you're not really into that whole American core, USA sort of thing, you might not enjoy Far Cry 5 as much as I did compared to the other Far Crys. But this one was right up my alley. I really enjoyed the plot to it. I really enjoyed all the different characters in it. They definitely took a lot of time on different character designs in this game. You have a whole bunch of crazy fun missions, a whole bunch of different guns you can choose from, a very large map, open world map. to roam around in, lots of different stuff to do, tons and tons and tons of side quests, and all, really just all this sort of stuff put together makes it the best Far Cry game in my opinion. But it's mainly that plot and the character design is absolutely phenomenal in Far Cry 5. Alrighty guys, in the next row we have the final station, Firefighters, the Simulation, Firewatch, Five Nights at Freddy's, and For Honor. So guys, I know a lot of you guys like Five Nights at Freddy's, but in my opinion, the winner is going to be Firewatch. This is one of the best indie games I've ever played. Basically, you are a park ranger and you're roaming around a park and there's a whole bunch of different crazy stuff happening that you have to stop and take care of the park and look after the park and stuff like that. It's just a really nice, it's a very wholesome game to play. So you guys, 95% of Google users liked Firewatch, so that right there should tell you how good this game is. For an indie game to get a 95% rating from Google users is absolutely insane. Its initial release date was February 9th, 2016. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Forbidden Forgiveness, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 5, Fractured Minds, and Frostpunk Console. Now guys, Fortnite is the obvious winner for this one because they did so much to revolutionize the gaming world entirely. They were the first free game to really blow up and prove that free games can be profitable with the in-game store that's completely optional and completely cosmetic, and it's still one of the most profitable games out there. It's really revolutionized Battle Royale games. It popularized the Battle Royale genre. It really exposed a lot of people to Battle Royale, and that's one of the reasons it's the best game in this row. And the graphics, in my opinion, the graphics in Fortnite are very beautiful in my opinion. I really love how Fortnite looks. All the different characters you can play as in Fortnite is really insane. Alrighty guys, in the next row we have Full Throttle Remastered, Game of Thrones, A Tall Tale Series, and Gang Beast, The Gardens Between, and Garfield Kart Furious Racing. Alright guys, so the winner is going to be Game of Thrones, A Tall Tale Series. Now we already had Tall Tale games once in this full episode of the full 400 games in the first part, but it comes back again in the second part in Game of Thrones. First of all, if you've enjoyed Game of Thrones as a TV series, you will really enjoy Game of Thrones as the game, as the Tall Tale game, but I don't think you've had to watch the TV series because the game itself is really, really nice. It's a Game of Thrones thing. Basically, there's different kingdoms. It's described as a episodic graphic adventure video game based on the TV series of the same name. So you guys, obviously every single Tall Tale series game is just an episodic graphic adventure game. It's just your choices matter. Every single choice you make matters for these characters, and it's up to you whether the characters do good or survive or whatnot. So every single choice you make during this episodic game is going to matter. So it's basically like you're watching the TV series, except for it's your choices that are affecting the character. Going into the next row, we have Gears 5, Generation Zero, Ghostbusters, Goat Simulator, and Golf with Your Friends. This is a very interesting row, but I'm going to have to go back to the Among Us row when we said that the best game was the large party game, because very, very few games can make large party games work, and Golf with Your Friends is one of them. This is a 8-person online multiplayer game, and don't worry if you don't have any friends, they just have random matchmaking to where you're still playing with random people, and it's just so much fun. The course design on Golf with Your Friends is really nice. It's definitely the best golfing game on Xbox in my opinion. It's just really addictive mini golf game. And there's not, not a whole lot you can say about it, but I know a whole lot of people that enjoy golf with your friends and that don't usually play golfing games, and I'm one of those people. I don't usually play golfing games at all. I don't enjoy golfing that much, but Golf with Your Friends is a really, really good mini golf game. Alright guys, going into row 29, we have The Good Life, Grand Theft Auto 5, Graveyard, Greedfall, and Grid. Alright guys, so the obvious winner in this row is going to be Grand Theft Auto 5. You guys already know the winner for. You guys already know the reasoning for this. It's such a massive game. It's a revolutionary game. 3-person story mode is really, really cool. So you can switch between 3 different playable characters, and you're playing like all 3 of these characters through the end. And in the end, you have the choice of saving one or the other, or try to save both. And so it's just a really interesting plot and story mode. And the online multiplayer was completely revolutionary as well, with the entire city of Los Angeles and the desert part as well. And so there's obviously, there's boating, there's jet skis, there's airplanes, there's motorcycles, there's cars. You can do literally everything in Los Angeles and the surrounding desert. You can go to strip clubs, rob gas stations, run from police, kill police. You can go golfing. Once again, you can go golfing in this game as well, just like the last row. And so, yeah, guys, Grand Theft Auto V is the winner of row 30. That was row 29. My bad, guys. We're going into row 30. And row 30 is Grand Fandango Remastered, Grounded, Grow Up, Happy Dungeons, and Happy Wars. So guys, the obvious winner to me is going to be Grim Fandango Remastered. Grim Fandango has so much comic relief throughout it. It's just stacked with comic relief. Basically, you're playing in the afterlife. You're going on this little little adventure in your afterlife. VentureBeat.com says it's one of the best stories anyone has ever told in a game. So basically, you're playing through a guy's four years in life. You have to go through 4 years of an adventure in the afterlife. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot I can say about Grim Fandango. You're basically just playing throughout 4 years of a main story in the afterlife. There's a whole bunch of comic relief in it. And it's definitely the best row of this game by far. A lot of people like Happy Wars and Happy Dungeons. I didn't really. A lot of people like Grounded. I didn't really like Grounded. And a lot of people like Grow Up, and I didn't like Grow Up that much. So for me, the obvious winner is going to be Grim Fandango Remastered, which I did enjoy. Alright guys, going into row number 31, we have Haven, Hawken, Headlander, Hello Neighbor, and Hitman 2. Alright guys, so Hitman 2 and Hitman the Trilogy are going to have to win this row. It's such a great stealth shooter game. You have to figure out how to get into places, how to sneak around, what disguises you need, who to get the disguises from, basically by knocking them out and stealing clothes off of them so you can sneak into other places, how to kill people that you're assigned to kill. You're basically just playing the role of 007 or a hitman. And it's a very, very good plot. There's a whole bunch of different episodes that all have good plots to them. It's just a very amazing stealth shooter game. I would highly recommend playing Hitman 1, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3. The trilogy just came out on Xbox Game Pass, so it's completely free to play, and it's with cloud gaming if you have Xbox Game Pass. So there's no reason not to play Hitman. It's definitely the best game in this row. Once again, it's got a complete blow away to the other 4's. Obvious winner in this row. The Hitman trilogy is absolutely fantastic. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Hollow Knight, Homefront the Revolution, Hot Shot Racing, Hue, and Human Fall Flat. Alrighty guys, so the winner has to be Homefront the Revolution. Very ironically, Homefront the Revolution was released in 2015, I believe, and it's based on there's mandatory lockdowns in the United States, and so people launched this mass revolution, and rise up against the government. Well, because North Korea takes over the United States, and that's why there's the lockdowns. And so if there's lockdowns in your country, you have to rise up. You can see the comedic effect in that, because we just went through lockdowns and nobody rose up. But Homefront the Revolution is still a very, very good game, a really good plot, very fun game to play, very action-packed sort of. It's a very exciting game to play. It's definitely the best game in this row once again, and it was very cheap on sale too. I think it was like $5 on sale the last time I checked, a couple of days ago, and one of the Xbox's recent sales that is probably still going. Well, not at the time of posting this, it's long gone, but if you see another sale, Homefront the Revolution is always on sale for really cheap, though, is what I'm trying to say. And so yeah guys, I would definitely recommend buying it, but I would recommend buying it on sale. Going into the next row, we have Hyperscape, I Am Alive, I Am Bread, I Am Fish, and In the Rays of Light. Alright guys, so the winner in this one is going to be In the Rays of Light. In the Rays of Light is an atmospheric adventure game. It's basically about what happens in our life, what happens after death, and the world in general. There's a very good puzzle element to this. You have to figure out sort of different things. It can be creepy, it can be exciting, it can be beautiful, it can be heart-touching, it can be all sorts of different emotions are going to be felt out throughout this game that at first glance comes off as just a walking simulator, but once you get to know the game a little bit better, it becomes more than just a walking simulator, because there is the puzzle element to it. I just said element, combining the words puzzle and element, but there's the puzzle element to it. There's definitely the emotional element to it, because it's life and death in the world in general. There's so much art to it, and it's just a very, very beautiful game to explore. I would highly recommend it, and it's definitely the best in this row. Alright guys, going down to the next row, we have Indivisible, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Injustice 2, Inner Space, and Insurgency Sandstorm. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to pick Insurgency Sandstorm. It's basically a whole lot like Call of Duty, except for it's a little bit more realistic. It's not a very good first-person shooter. There's definitely better first-person shooters out there, and there's definitely better first-person shooters on my list of games. Or at least in the 4 or 5-part series that we're doing. If you watch the full thing, there's already been better first-person shooters in the first round, but Insurgency Sandstorm takes place in the Middle East. It's a realistic first-person shooter like Call of Duty, and it's a little bit laggy. The shooting isn't that great. The gameplay isn't very great, but it's definitely the best in this row still, and it is a good war game, and it's a nice multiplayer game. Guys, in the next row, we have Into the Pit, Island Saver, the Jackbox Party Pack 3, Jetpack Refueled, and Journey to Planet Savage. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to pick the Jackbox Party Pack 3 on this one. It's basically just a collection of 5 other different games, but the 5 board games featured into this one game are very fun, very good to play with the party. It's just 5 board games, trivia games, that sort of thing. It can be very addictive to play with friends if you have friends to play with, and I would highly recommend playing this with your friends. It's literally called the Party Pack. It's supposed to be played at a party or with a group of friends, and it's very addictive if you have the friends to play with. It's really hard to recommend for a single player because it's literally called the Party Pack. It's supposed to be played as a party, and it's just 5 board games, but the board games are very fun. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Joyride Turbo, Jurassic World Evolution, Just Cause 4, Katamari Damacy Reroll, and Catastick. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to go with Just Cause 4. So basically it is a shooting game to where you're doing things just because. It is completely filled with action. There's a whole bunch of different things to see. The graphics are pretty nice in this game, and you're just doing so many different things it's sort of like Grand Theft Auto, but more cartoonish. Not cartoonish, but more animated, I guess you could say, than Grand Theft Auto. And it's just a very fun game. You're literally doing things just because, you know. There is like a plot and story to it. Yeah, it's just an action adventure game, and 86% of Google users liked Just Cause 4. Alrighty guys, moving into the next row. Moving into row number 37, we have Killing Floor 2, King's Quest, Kingdom Hearts, Knockout City, and Kona. Alright guys, so this one has a very obvious winner to me, and that has to be Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is another action fighting game to where you're playing as a whole bunch of different animated characters, both anime characters and cartoon characters that you're definitely going to remember from your childhood, such as Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy, and just a whole bunch of different cartoon characters that you're definitely going to remember, and definitely have a lot of fun seeing this whole rework on them. Seeing them in a fighting game is really interesting, and seeing the character development and design in this game is really interesting. You're definitely playing this game for the characters, but it is a really good fighting game in general. The map design is also really nice, I feel like. And yeah guys, Kingdom Hearts is such a classic. It definitely has a cult following, and so it definitely has to be the winner of this row. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have Lake, we have Laser League, Late Shift, Layers of Fear, and the Lego Movie. Alrighty guys, this one is a very tough one. I would say it's a four-way tie between Lake, Late Shift, Layers of Fear, and the Lego Movie video game, but I have to go with Late Shift. Now, Late Shift is one of those movie type of games, so if you guys don't like those, you're not going to enjoy this one, but it's one of your games where every single one of your choices matters. It's going to completely impact the outcome of the game, or at least that playthrough, so every single small choice you make is going to matter for every single character that you bump into, and it's just a very interesting movie-esque game to play. I've played it probably 4 or 5 times completely, and it's definitely a very fun and interesting game to play through. Basically, you're trying to like steal money from like an auction house. It has to do with like wealthy people and like this one little plate and like Chinese gang members, and a whole bunch of different stuff gets involved in it. But 97% of Google users liked this game, guys. 97% is a very high rating, especially for a movie-esque type of game. So yeah guys, it is one of the most highest rating games in this entire 400 game ranking. 97% is amazing. Alrighty guys, moving into row number 39, we have Lego Star Wars, The Complete Saga, Lego Batman, Lego City Undercover, Life is Strange, and Life is Strange Part 2. It's so complicated because it's two completely different games, both classics in different ways in their own right, between Lego Star Wars and Life is Strange. But I'm going to have to go with Life is Strange, just because it's more of like a real game, I guess you could say, and I sort of like the story mode of it, how you can sort of turn back time and fix your mistakes, and going on this completely insane, well, not necessarily insane story mode, but a very beautiful story mode, going through this entire character's story with your different friends and stuff. It's a very, very beautiful game to play through. Definitely emotional at parts. It's described as a primarily episodic graphic adventure game published by Square Enix. You know guys, Life is Strange is the best game of row 39. Alrighty guys, in the next game, we have Life is Strange Before the Storm, Limbo, Little Nightmares, Lonely Mountains, Downhill, and The Long Dark. Alright guys, so once again, I'm going to have to pick Life is Strange Before the Storm. The prequel to Life is Strange is literally called Before the Storm, so it's obviously the prequel. Everything I said about the first Life is Strange, it's a very beautiful, episodic adventure game that you're learning about this character that you're playing as, all her different friends and stuff. So many different adventures that you're going to go on, so many beautiful things that you're going to see, experience, and feel throughout this game. It's a wonderful prequel to the first part, and guys, it has to be the best game of row 40. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed watching part 2. It's my 400 game ranking, and I hope you guys stick around for part 3, or if you're still watching the full episode, thank you guys very much. Alright, yo guys, welcome to part 3 of doing my 400 game ranking. If you guys haven't seen the first two parts, we are basically doing rows of 5 games. There are 80 rows in total. We are currently on row 41. So, row 41 is Lost Words, Beyond the Page, A Love Choice, The Lovely Planet, Madden NFL 22, and Mafia 3. Now, I have to say, all of these games, besides The Lovely Planet, are absolutely S-tier games. I loved playing all 4 of them for different reasons. However, I have to give the best game to Madden 22 because I've been a Madden fan for as long as I've been a gaming fan, pretty much, or as long as I can remember. I think my first Madden, was Madden 11 on the Wii. But I've just been playing Madden forever now, and it's been a really long ride, so I have to give it to Madden. Of course, it's just a NFL simulator, or sports simulator game. There's a career mode, there is a ultimate team mode to where you can build your own team full of the players you wish, or whatever players you want on your team, and then that team goes head to head with other players online and the teams that they built. Or you can just play with regular teams that exist in real life against other real life teams. So guys, Madden 22 is the winner of row 41. Alright guys, moving into the next row, we have Man-Eater, Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, MechWarrior 5, The Medium, and Minecraft. Now, this one sort of has an obvious answer to it, but I'm actually going to have to go with The Medium. I really enjoyed The Medium and the whole story aspect to it, and how it's so unique as a game. The whole medium ability, how it totally took into that whole spiritual world and really showcase what mediums actually do in real life, sort of thing. And it was just a really beautiful story, really well done, really amazing game, and I just really enjoyed playing it. That's all I really can say. Minecraft is, in my opinion, obviously it's a classic, but it's also sort of basic, and I've never really enjoyed playing Minecraft myself. So just to be completely authentic with you guys, I'm giving it to The Medium. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Story Mode, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2, Minute, and Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to give the winner to Minecraft Story Mode. Both Minecraft Story Mode and Minecraft Story Mode were absolutely fantastic. However, I'm going to have to pick the first one. It's basically Telltale Games. We've heard Telltale Games in both Part 1 and Part 2, but Telltale Games comes back again. It's basically you're just making decisions that affect all the characters, and there's multiple different outcomes you can get throughout the game, and you have to lead the characters to the best possible outcomes throughout the game. But it's based off of Minecraft characters and a whole bunch of Minecraft lore, and it's just a really fun game. and the story was absolutely beautifully designed. It has such a wonderful plot to it. It looks nice, it plays nice, it's a very smooth game, and I have to give it to Minecraft Story Mode. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have MLB The Show, Mortal Kombat X, Mount and Blade Warband, Murdered Soul Suspect, and Music Racer. Alright guys, so obviously Mortal Kombat is a classic. Murdered Soul Suspect is also somewhat a classic. It's a very well-known video game, but I think the winner is going to have to be MLB The Show. MLB The Show 21 was actually the first edition in over a decade that came to Xbox after contract sort of arguments and stuff like that. But we finally got MLB The Show back on Xbox, and I gotta say, I was not disappointed. I really enjoy MLB and sports simulators in general. Part 3 is really the sports simulator part. I'm really going to have to warn you guys about that right now. But MLB The Show has to be the winner of this row for me. So the next row is... The next row is Mutant Year Zero, MXGP3, My Friend Pedro, My Time at Portia, and NASCAR Heat Evolution. Alright guys, so I told you guys this is going to be the sports part. Part 3 is the sports simulator. And it's not changing in this row. We have to go with the NASCAR Heat Evolution. There's something just about NASCAR that is really peaceful to me, and it's very meditative video game, and I just really enjoyed it overall. I believe that it was a pretty well done NASCAR game. Of course, there's a lot of sort of a lot of different NASCAR games out there. Not too many. There's a few, but I really enjoy NASCAR Heat Evolution. And that's all there is to it. It's just a NASCAR game. It goes round and round and round and round. You know, you just keep on going on the track and you race people. Alrighty, guys. In the next row, we have NBA 2K22. NBA Playgrounds, Need for Speed Rivals, Need for Speed, and Need for Speed Heat. So basically, we have 2K22, and I would probably say that Need for Speed Heat is the best Need for Speed, but I have to give this win to NBA 2K22 because it's such a huge, innovative sports game with my park, with all the different stores in the game. Like, real-life stores that your character can walk to in a sort of, like, city sort of thing. So many different mini-games. There's so much to do in NBA 2K22 for a basketball game. There's Pro AM, where you join a team of 5 and you take on another team of 5 in a full game of basketball. There's the My Team aspect where you can build your own team. There's regular teams, just like Madden. There's My GM, where you can be the actual GM of a team. There is career mode, where you actually are a NBA superstar, which is a very phenomenal career mode. There's just so much to do in NBA 2K22. You can go on and on and on and on. There's so many different things. It's absolutely insane, and it is a very fun game to play as well. It's very fun, you know, shooting the ball, and you can have so much fun in 2K22. Alright guys, the next row is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Need for Speed Payback, Neon Abyss, Neverwinter, and New Super Lucky's Tale. So I'm going to have to give this game, or this row, to the classic Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is one of the classic Need for Speeds. But yeah guys, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is basically a cops versus runners Need for Speed. It's solely based off of the whole pursuit. It's literally called Hot Pursuit. It's based off of cops chasing you, basically. It's the main theme to this Need for Speed, and I just really think it's a really good Need for Speed. It's a classic Need for Speed, and it's just a really enjoyable game overall. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have NHL 22, NHL 94, Nickelodeon Kart Racers, North, and Observation. I know you guys see where this one's going. It's going to be NHL 22. Again, you have the whole Ultimate Team where you can build your own team however you see fit, whatever players you want on it. There's regular teams. There's the career mode. There's a whole bunch of different modes you can play in NHL 22, and it's just really, really fun, fast-paced game. If you like hockey, it's really fun. Even if you don't like hockey, I do not watch hockey on TV. I still really, really enjoy playing the NHL games. It's just really fun to go around hitting people, just running into them, scoring the goals, finding out ways to score and win the games. It's just really fun. Gotta love NHL 22. Alrighty, guys, going into the next row, we have One Leaves, Onigiri, Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, and then the Outer Worlds, and then Outlast 2. Alright, guys, so I'm going to have to give this game to the classic horror game Outlast 2. It is listed as a first-person psychological horror survival video game and developed and published by Red Barrels. It was released on April 24th, 2017, and 93% of Google users liked this game. So it has a very, very high like rating to it. And it's just a psychological horror survival game. It's a very classic horror survival game. It's one of the most famous horror games to date, and for a good reason. And yeah, guys, Outlast 2 has to be the winner for this row. Going into the next row, we have Overwatch, Pac-Man, The Park, Pathologic 2, and The Pedestrian. Now, this one obviously has another obvious winner, and it's going to be Overwatch Origins Edition. Overwatch is a online multiplayer 5v5 game where basically one team is trying to push a car all the way into the end marking zone, which is, a good distance away, and the other team of 5 is trying to stop them from pushing the car. It's not a real car, it's like a hoverboard sort of thing. That's not a hoverboard either, but you get the picture. You're trying to push something, and they're trying to stop you from pushing it to the end zone. And so it's just a 5v5 futuristic FPS, a very classic game once again. Lots of people know about Overwatch. I personally am a D.Va main. I basically only play as D.Va, but I still really, really enjoy it. I think it's a really fun, fast-paced, futuristic FPS, and I just really enjoy playing Overwatch. I don't play it really often, but I've had it for a long time. And there was a period of time where I played it really often, but I just don't have anyone to play with as of the moment, so I don't play that often at all. But that doesn't mean it's not a good game. I just don't have anyone to play it with. I used to play it all the time. Alrighty, guys, going into the next row, we have Peepaw's Farm, Peggle, Peggle 2, Perfect Dark, and Pogs. Alrighty, guys, so we have two classic games in their own right and perspective, with Perfect Dark coming out on the Nintendo 64 originally, I believe, and Peggle. But as of today, 2022, I'm going to have to go with Peggle as the winner, because Perfect Dark really, really, I think, died down. It's not that good on Xbox Series S, to where Peggle still has a lot of playability. It's still very playable, and it will always be playable. So for that reason, I'm really going to have to give it to Peggle. It's just a really fun puzzle game. You have to find a way to clear all of the bricks off the map with the amount of shots that they give you. And so it's just a really fun, addicting puzzle game with a lot of cute, cartoonish humor to it. Alrighty, guys, going into the next row, we have Pecan Iku, A Plague Tale Innocence, Planet Alpha, Planet Coaster, and Plants vs. Zombies. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to give this one to A Plague Tale Innocence. A Plague Tale Innocence is an action-adventure stealth game developed by Asobo Studios and published by Focus Home Interactive. It was released on May 2019, and 97% of Google users liked A Plague Tale Innocence. That's what the highest rating you can really get, because no game is ever going to have 100%, but 97% is really close. It's going to be one of the highest scores you'll ever see, especially on this list. 97% is really good. Of course, it got 10 out of 10 by Screen Rant. It got 9 out of 10 by Niche Gamer. Got 9 out of 10 by The Sixth Axis. Got 9 out of 10 by Windows Central. It got 9 out of 10 by Games Blog. It got 8.5 out of 10 by Dual Shockers. It got 8 out of 10 by GameSpot. So everyone loves A Plague Tale Innocence, a stealth game. Going into the next row, 3, we have the Power Rangers, the Procession to Calvary, Project Wingman, Project Winter, and Promessa. I'm going to say my favorite one is Promessa. Basically, the whole objective, or the whole idea around Promessa, is you're sort of moving through dreams, and I feel like it's just a very beautiful game overall. So where there's a whole lot of beautiful scenery going on in Promessa, lots of different, sort of maps that look really nice, very interesting plot to it. Well, not necessarily a plot, but it's just a fun walking simulator. It's a relatively slow walking simulator, not a whole lot is going to happen, but it is a beautiful walking simulator overall. I gotta say, this row is not as good as the other rows. There's no, Promessa doesn't run away with a victory or anything. There's no really amazing games in that row. But Promessa is a winner. Alright guys, moving into the next row, we have Prominence Poker, PUBG Battlegrounds, Pumped BMX, Quake, and Quantum Break. So I'm going to have to pick PUBG Battlegrounds as a winner. Most of you guys are going to know PUBG. It is a battle royale game. It's a sort of realistic military edition of Fortnite, where there is realistic Eastern European style graphics. It's realistic shooting as well. So it's just a realistic sort of Fortnite. And it's sort of more like Warzone, but still it's not as fast paced as Warzone. It's more of like a slow paced, still more realistic than Warzone, way more realistic than Warzone. So I really enjoy PUBG Battlegrounds as a battle royale. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say about that. Moving into the next row, we have Race the Sun, Race with Ryan, Rad Rogers, Rare Replay, and The Raven Remastered. So the Rare Replay is actually a collection of 30 different classic games. So stacking 30 classic games is not really fair, so that one's going to be taken out. And therefore, I'm going to give the win to Race the Sun. But it's also important to note that I've never actually played the Raven Remastered. I've only played the first 4, and Rare Replay is being taken out because it's 30 classic games. So Race the Sun is the winner, and don't get me wrong guys, it is a very, very good game as well. It's very addicting, it's very calming, it's much like Jetpack Joy Ride sort of feel and vibe to it. And yeah guys, I just really enjoy Race the Sun. It's always fun to try to do the challenges and to beat your record in Race the Sun, and just to see how far you can go without crashing or without running out of energy. Going into the next row, we have Rayman Origins, Realm Royale, Rec Room, Recore, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Alright guys, this is a very obvious winner for me, and it's going to be Red Dead Redemption 2. The story mode of Red Dead Redemption 2 is definitely in my top 10 story modes of all time. somewhere in there. I really enjoy the map of Red Dead Redemption 2. There is the major city of New Orleans, along with a few other small cities, and a very beautiful, vast nature. Lots of trees and forests, hills, all sorts of different nature you could want. It's a very photogenic game. If you like taking screenshots of the game you're playing, I took so many screenshots in Red Dead Redemption. It was absolutely insane. But the plot of Red Dead Redemption 2, the entire building of character is absolutely amazing in Red Dead Redemption 2. You absolutely will fall in love with all the characters. They are very memorable characters, to say the least. And yeah, guys, I'm going to have to give this win to Red Dead Redemption 2. Alright, guys, going into the next row, we have Rememoried, Remnant from the Ashes, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Rhyme, and Ring of Pain. Alright, guys, so I'm going to have to give this win to Rememoried. So, Rememoried does not have a rating on Google. But it's sort of like the what was that game called? It's sort of like Promessa, to where you're moving through sort of dreams, and it's just sort of a walking simulator with a whole lot of really cool graphics and maps. Yeah, it's labeled as a art game, A-R-T game, art game. So it's literally just a walking simulator to look at certain art styles and graphics and map designs. Literally, it's much like Promessa, to where you're moving through dreams in a way. And it's just a very cool game. I really like it because it's really beautiful, and I really enjoy art and that sort of thing, but it might not be your thing if you don't like walking simulators. Alright, guys, moving into the next row, we have Rise of Insanity, Riverbond, Road Redemption, Roblox, and Rocket Arena. Obviously, guys, Roblox is a lot like Minecraft, and it's a classic game, and it's a loser in my pick, because we have to give this row to Rise of Insanity. So Rise of Insanity is actually a relatively unpopular video game. Only 77% of users like this game. That's still a very good rating. 77%, that's still pretty popular, but it's not the 93 and 97 we saw earlier. So this game will take you about 2 hours to complete, with a good twist throughout the game. Alright, guys, there's not really a whole lot you can say about Rise of Insanity. Oh, it's basically, it's also sort of like a walking simulator. You're just walking around, sort of, discovering things. It's about 2 hours. It's not the most scary horror game you're ever going to play, but it is a really good horror game, to say the least. At the beginning of our relationship. In my opinion. Obviously, a lot of the reviewers, a lot of the critics did not like this game, but I really enjoyed it. Alright, guys, going into the next row, we have Rocket League, Rogue Company, Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure, Rise, Son of Rome, and Saints Row IV re-elected. Alright, guys, I'm going to have to give the winner to Rocket League. Rocket League is basically a car-based game to where it's a car-based arcade game to where you can play soccer, basketball, hockey, and other different game modes with your car. And you're just, sort of hitting the ball, going, it's 1v3, 2v2, or 3v3 in different game modes. It's an arcade racing game, and it's very fun and addicting, in my opinion. It's definitely a really easy game to put a lot of hours into, especially if you have friends to play with. It becomes really fun. A thing to keep in mind is there is no voice communication in Rocket League. You can only say what the D-pad allows you to say. There are text options. You can put things into chat as long as it's appropriate as well. Of course, it's going to take time, and in a racing game, you can't really type things out. But you can press up, down, left, or right on the D-pad, and it does give you automatic text to put. That is your only form of communication, which kind of sucks, but it is a really good game. It's a really good racing arcade sports simulator. Alrighty guys, going into row 60, we have Saints Row the Third Remastered, Saints Row Get Out of Hell, Scream Ride, Sea of Solitude, and Shadow Complex. Alright guys, this is a really controversial opinion, but I'm going to have to pick Saints Row Get Out of Hell as my winner for this row. The reason why it's controversial is because Saints Row the Third is the most popular Saints Row, which is the reason why that one is the one that's remastered. But I really liked how Get Out of Hell involved different celebrities from the past. You know, like William Shakespeare is in it, which is really interesting, and like a couple other like celebrity sort of things. And it's just a whole lot of different interactions that are really cool. The character designs of it are really amazing. The character depth, the character personalities are really good, and that's really the reason that I like Saints Row Get Out of Hell. I just really like the gameplay of it. I really think that the gameplay was sort of fast-paced and a really enjoyable gameplay. I do like Saints Row the Third Remastered, don't get me wrong, it is another good game, but I'm going to have to give row 60 to Saints Row Get Out of Hell. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please hit the like button down below. See you guys in the next one, in part 4. Alright guys, welcome to part 4 of ranking my 400 game collection. If you guys are watching the full episode, thank you guys so much for staying along this long and watching the whole thing. I really appreciate the support. Alright guys, so the row 61, the first row of this video is going to be She Sees Red, Silence, The Sims 4, Skatebird, and Slay the Spire. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to pick She Sees Red as the winner for this row. It is another interactive movie, and we've had a few so far, and I know you guys, a lot of you guys don't like interactive movies, but I really do, and this is no exception. This is a really good interactive movie. You're basically playing as a detective that vows to put the murderer of a person in a nightclub that got murdered overnight behind bars. So the entire script of the movie is you're trying to do all this detective work and put the murderer behind bars and get the right person. And yeah, so you're basically just going through an interactive movie of a detective who's solving a crime scene. This is a pretty simple game to describe, but it's a really good game. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Slender, The Arrival, Slime Rancher, Sniper Elite 4, Sniper Elite Volume 2 Remastered, and South Park The Fractured But Whole. And I'm going to have to go with Sniper Elite Volume 2 Remastered as the winner for this row. Basically, you are playing as a stealth sniper in the Battle of Berlin in 1945. All of the Sniper Elite games are really fun sniping games. Sniper Elite 4 is really good as well, but I'm just going to have to go with Sniper Elite Volume 2 Remastered. It's just slightly better than Sniper Elite 4. Yeah guys, it's basically just a stealth sniper game set in 1945, and it's a really fun sniping game. Yeah guys, go ahead and check out Sniper Elite Volume 2. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have South Park The Stick of Truth, Space Jam, A New Legacy, the game, Space Lords, Split Second, and Split Gate. Alright guys, so for the winner of this episode, we're going to have to go with Split Second. Split Second is a arcade racing game published by Disney Studios, actually. A lot of people don't know that Disney made a racing arcade game, but they did, and it was released in 2010, so it is a relatively older game. You guys might not enjoy it that much today. But it is still a relatively good game today because it is a arcade racing game. So the modernity of an arcade game doesn't really matter as much as a more realistic game would matter. So it definitely had a longer shelf life than most other games would, and it's still definitely really playable today. Okay guys, it was released in 2010, so you just gotta be really cautious of that when checking games out when they were actually released, but it is a really good arcade racing game. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have SpongeBob, the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and then we have SXX, Star Wars, Battlefront, Star Wars Quadrants, and Storm Boy. Alright guys, so the winner for this row is going to be Star Wars Battlefront. It's just your stereotypical Star Wars game basically, but you're playing as one of the two armies during multiple different times in the Star Wars era. And so yeah guys, it's a very classic Star Wars game. That's all you can really say about it. It's like a Star Wars game, Star Wars themed. And yeah, you're just fighting in one of the armies and Star Wars, and it goes through multiple different times, so there's a lot of different stuff to it, but it's just a classic Star Wars game, and I really enjoyed it. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Sunset Overdrive, Super Dungeon Bros, Super Lucky Tales, Super Mega Baseball, and Super Mega... the first one is Super Mega Baseball 2, and this one is Super Mega Baseball Part 1. So, throughout the episode, we've really seen in alphabetical order that the first one would go first, and then it would be the second one, but in this row, we have the second one first, and then the first one. But the winner is actually going to be Sunset Overdrive, which is a sort of animated arcade action game, much like Just Cause. The video game series Just Cause. It's basically, but it's a more animated version of it. And it's just a really fun, cartoonish action game. There's a bunch of different fun weapons and things to do. It takes place in a fictional metropolis called Sunset City. It was released in October 28th, 2014, so it is an older game. But since it is sort of arcade-ish and it has the animated sort of artwork, cartoonish artwork to it, the graphics have not really declined over the years because it wasn't really supposed to be realistic and it's just artwork. So it's still very playable today, and there are a few famous games from 2014-2015, which was very good years for gaming. Alright guys, so Super Hot Mind Control Delete is going to be the winner for this row. It's basically a whole bunch of different red guys are coming at you on every single different level, trying to kill you, and if they hit you one time, you are dead. But the catch is, if you stop moving, time stops moving, and bullets will pause in air. So it's sort of like a puzzle game. You have to figure out how you're going to survive each level and get to the end of it, and you will use every single part of the map to your advantage. There are several parts in the map that will literally be your weapons, such as if you're in a kitchen, obviously you can grab a knife or a pan as your weapon. You're going to see that throughout every single level in this game, and it makes it very interesting. So it's basically a puzzle game, but also sort of an action game. It's just a really fun and really unique video game. I would kind of recommend trying it out. It's just a very good game, and it's a very interesting experience. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have Surgeon Simulator 2, Surviving Mars, Synchro Hedgehogs, Securita Meets Fries, and Tales from the Borderlands. Alright guys, so for the winner of this row, I'm going to have to pick Tales from the Borderlands, a Telltale Games series. We've seen Telltale Games come up a few different times throughout this entire four-part series, or the full episode if you're watching that. You've seen it come up a few different times. But Tales from the Borderlands is a really good Telltale Games. Alrighty guys, so it's basically like Minecraft story mode. You're basically playing the created story mode of the Borderlands game, the infamous Borderlands game. And I didn't actually play Borderlands all the way through, and I still really enjoyed Tales from the Borderlands, and I believe you'll be the same. You don't necessarily have to play Borderlands at all in order to enjoy Tales from the Borderlands. It's a good game by itself, but it's going to be a really great game if you enjoyed the original Borderlands game. It's definitely probably something you should check out if you enjoy the original Borderlands game. This is just the story mode of it, much like Minecraft story mode, and it's by the exact same company, Telltale Games. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have Tell Me Why, Telling Lies, Tempo the Bad A Elephant, Tennis World Tour, and Thief of Thieves. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to go with Tell Me Why. So Tell Me Why is much like Life is Strange, but without the magic to it. So it's basically just an episodic adventure game where you're sort of like, so basically you're part of a set of twins that have the power to communicate with each other using telepathy. And so it really is quite a lot like Life is Strange, actually, because there is sort of like that power to it, and it's an episodic adventure game where you're going on really beautiful adventures with either, you know, close friends in Life is Strange cases, or your twin in Tell Me Why. So this is a really beautiful episodic adventure game, and yeah guys, if you enjoyed Life is Strange, you're going to enjoy Tell Me Why. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Thimbleweed Park, This War of Mine, The Little Ones, Through the Woods, Titanfall 2, and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to pick Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint for the winner of this row. Basically, you're taking down this like really bad technology company, and it is part of like, it's not necessarily a sequel, but it's in the same sort of category as what released previously, which is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Obviously, it has the same name of that Ghost Recon, but this one is Breakpoint, the one that came after Wildlands, and it was a flop at the start. Really heavily criticized game, hated by most of the players. But now looking back on it, I think it was a pretty good game. Comparatively, it is a open world game, and I just believe that it was. It's really good, actually. I think it was really well done, and I really enjoyed it, and it is the winner of this row. Going into the next row, we have Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and Totally Reliable Delivery Service. Alright guys, so you might be expecting, since I picked Ghost Recon Breakpoint for the last row, that I'm going to be picking Ghost Recon Wildlands for this row. And while that does come in second, and while it is definitely a very, very, very good game that you should check out, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is my favorite game of all time. And it is going to be the winner of this row. So yeah, guys, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is basically a stealth first-person shooter where teams of 5 will go head-to-head. 5 people are basically trying to defend an objective, and 5 people are trying to attack that objective. And it is very stealthy, very team-based. You have to be very careful. It's a lot like Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, except for much more slower paced. Yeah, I guess it's just a very fun game in my opinion, and they're also adding Team Deathmatch in a couple of months, so that's going to be really, really fun. There's a whole bunch of different operators that have special abilities that you can use, and a whole bunch of different guns that you can choose from that all make it really, really interesting. And you never know what to expect in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, what approach your enemy is going to take, and what approach you're going to have to take to win. But you're going to have to figure it out for your team, and it just makes it a really exciting first-person stealth shooter. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have Trackmania Turbo, Tracks, the Train Set Game, Treasure Hunter Simulator, Trials Fusion, and Trials Rising. Alright, guys, so I'm going to premise this by saying that I have never played Treasure Hunt Simulator, so I can't really give an opinion on that. But I'm going to have to say, out of the other four, my favorite is going to be Trials Fusion. I think the Trials games are really fun, sort of arcade games. Sort of like one of those games that you would play like on a MacBook or on a laptop at school, or something like that. Arcade motorcycle game, or it's a course-based motorcycle game, so you have to figure out how you get out or how you finish these very exotic, dangerous courses on your motorcycle, and it's just a very fun challenge and puzzle trying to figure that out, but it's also very exciting with all the motorcycles and everything else. Alright, guys. Hey guys, it's just a really good game. Guys, going into the next row, we have the Turning Test, 12 Minutes, UFC 4, Under the Jolly Roger, and Uno. Alright guys, so I'm going to be taking Uno out of the competition because it's a classic card game. And so this is just the digital adaptation of the original card game. Everyone knows about Uno. I mean, if you want Uno for your Xbox, go ahead and install it. You already know what Uno is, so I'm taking it out. So with that being said, out of the other four, I'm going to have to pick UFC 4 as the winner. It's a pretty good cage fighting video game. If you guys know what the UFC is, most people do. But you're basically just like a cage fighter, sort of cage wrestling game. And there is a sort of career mode in it, which is pretty fun. There's a few other different modes which are also really fun. It's just a realistic cage fighting video game. And you have to figure out how to defeat your opponent, which is sort of puzzling. And you also sort of never know what to expect what your opponent's going to do and what you have to do to counter your opponent. So it's always going to be different, which makes it really exciting. Going into the next row, we have Unravel, Unravel 2, Untitled Goose Game, On to the End, and The Val. For my winner, I'm going to have to go with Unravel, the original Unravel Part 1. And it's basically a very beautiful game where you are basically playing as a piece of yarn with like your brother, and it's just a side-scrolling game that you guys use each other to help complete all these sort of obstacles and your way across your journey. But guys, just the map design of Unravel is really, really beautiful, so that's what really puts it over the other three. Because obviously Unravel and Unravel 2 are so basically the exact same game. It's just a continuation of the first one. But yeah, guys, Unravel Part 1 is going to be the winner for that row. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have Vigor, Virginia, Visage, Viva Pinata, and Walden. Alrighty guys, so for the winner, I'm going to have to pick Visage. It is a psychological puzzle horror game, so you kind of figure out how to get to the next level, try to figure out what you need to do in order to advance in the game, but at the exact same time it is a psychological horror game, and it's definitely very scary. It's definitely going to keep you on edge throughout the entire game. It was a very well done horror game, very well designed. The graphics are pretty nice. The house, it's set in a house, it looks really decent. The characters all look sort of decent when you come across the characters. Of course, most of the time you're just exploring a house by yourself, and a whole bunch of creepy stuff is happening. But it is a paranormal, psychological horror game, and it's definitely worth checking out. And it is free on Game Pass, I believe, still. So if you have Game Pass, you should definitely be installing it. Yeah, guys. Going into the next row, we have The Walking Dead, A New Frontier, The Walking Dead Season 2, The Walking Dead Season 1, Warface, and Warface Breakout. Alright, guys, so basically we have two different games here because we have two different Warface games and three different Walking Dead Telltale games. All of those games are Telltale series. And so I'm going to have to pick the first one, the Walking Dead, the Telltale game series, Season 1. And it's a very good game mode. I believe that PewDiePie played through it as well as several other large YouTubers. It was a very beautifully done, very emotional story game. It'll definitely pull at your heart a little bit, sort of game. It's loosely based on the actual Walking Dead. It is a zombie game, of course, because Walking Dead is a zombie TV series. But it is a very beautiful story in itself. You definitely do not have to be a Walking Dead fan to enjoy the Walking Dead video game. I've never watched a Walking Dead episode, so I couldn't tell you who if the characters are actually based on characters in the TV series or not. I have no clue whatsoever. Because I've never seen an episode of The Walking Dead, but I can tell you that The Walking Dead is very emotional, very well done, very good character development, good graphics, good gameplay, every single thing you need in a video game. Of course, it is a Telltale game series. So if you guys don't like that whole interactive video game sort of thing, the whole Telltale sort of thing, you're obviously not going to like it, but I absolutely loved it. Alright guys, going into the next row, we have a Wasteland Remastered, Watch Dogs 2, Watch Dogs Legion, West of Dead, and What Remains of Edith Finch. Alright guys, so all the game nuts are probably wanting me to say What Remains of Edith Finch because Watch Dogs 2 was a very controversial game, but I'm going to have to go with that game as the winner. It is set in the San Francisco Bay Area, and basically you're using technology to go on all these sort of missions, taking down people using technology, hacking their phone to figure out more stuff about them. And I guess it's very much a technology and hacking based game. You're using technology for everything, going on these sort of different fun adventures. But at the same time, there are guns in it, so it is a action shooting game. As long as the sort of like hacking element to it, it is open world, which is really fun. It's just an open world in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's somewhat realistic, but it's hyper technological. So there's hyper technology with like hacking cameras, hacking cell phones, stuff like that. But it is the winner of that row. Alrighty guys, going into the next row, we have When the Past Was Around, Who's Your Daddy, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, The Wolf Among Us, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. Alrighty guys, so this one is actually going to shock you guys, but I'm going to have to pick The Wolf Among Us. I know The Witcher 3 and Wolfenstein are much larger games, much more popular games, but The Wolfenstein Among Us was simply the better game in my opinion. It is once again a Telltale game series game, and basically you're playing as a werewolf detective, and there's just a whole bunch of different characters, really nice character development, a really, really good plot. It's very, very fun gameplay, trying to figure everything out, because once again, you're a detective, you have to sort of figure things out, and it's just really fun to play through. I really, really enjoyed it. I believe I played it twice. I know I beat the game once, but I really do believe I played part of it twice. I'm not sure if I beat the whole thing twice, though. But I've played very, very few games twice, so that really does tell you something. The Wolf Among Us is a really, really good detective game. In general, it's a really good Telltale game. It's probably my favorite Telltale game. And yeah, guys, so moving into the next row, we have World War Z, Worms, WMD, Wreckfest, Yaksuka, Kawaii, and Yesterday Origins. Alrighty, guys. So the winner for this row is going to be Wreckfest. It is a demolition derby racing game. If you guys are foreign and you don't know what a demolition derby is, because I'm not sure if demolition derbies take place outside of the U.S. or not. Um, but basically, you are going head to head, trying to crash into your opponents and destroy your opponent's cars. Basically, is the main thing of a demolition derby, and it's also a sort of racing game to where you can race your opponents. There's a few different things you can do in the game. It's just a very fun racing game in general. I think the online probably has died off by now. I haven't played it in a really long time, to be honest with you guys. So I'm not really sure how the online servers are actually doing nowadays. But I'm pretty sure it's dead. So just be wary of that. Alright, guys, going into the last row of our 400 games. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Alright, so we are heading into the very last row, and if you have made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. Yeah, guys, it's just really amazing to have you guys here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a really long episode, so if anyone watched it, I'm really, really appreciative of that. Alright, guys, going into the very last row, we have Yooka-Laylee, and the Impossible Liar, Your Toy, Zoo Tycoon Ultimate, and Zuma. Alright, guys, so I have to go with Zuma. It's just a classic arcade sort of puzzle game to where you connect like balls together and you don't want it to fill up the screen. It's sort of like Tetris, a little bit, not really. But yeah, it's sort of like Tetris. It's a puzzle game like that. Um, just a very classic arcade game. And to be honest, I'm just not a big fan of the other 4 games in this row. It's not a very good row at all, unfortunately, for the last row. But yeah, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching until the end. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.